Hey guys, Gretchen here with trauma recovery. So, did you know trauma is actually physically trapped in your body? Did you know there are doctors who say that the trauma that is trapped in your body creates its own vibration, has the cells around it vibrate at that vibration? So you have cells in your body that are vibrating at the same vibration as your trauma. And did you know that they vibe more cells that vibrate at that frequency towards them? Oh, you might now it's going click, click, click. That's why I keep attracting the same type of jerks, right? It's why I keep having the same type of trauma because I have these things in my body, these energies in my bodies from my past trauma that have created this whole resonance in my body, this whole like frequency in my body that's saying, "Hi, so this is my frequency. It's my trauma frequency. Hi," and then vibes that same trauma back to you. It keeps drawing that back to you like a moth to the flame. Like we had this discussion with narcissists. Like narcissists will see that you're doing good. They see that bright light shining and they flutter over to you. What you doing? What you got going on over here? Suck some of that energy out of you. Suck some of those ideas. But just flat steal that idea from you. So, because you have not released that trauma and you have that resonance in your body, and the more that you ignore it, don't acknowledge it, the more it's going to grow and be stay trapped in your body. I'm going to list the doctors that I'm building this on. And this is all going into my soon to be trademarked trauma recovery program as well. So we hold the trauma in our body and we hold different emotions in different bodies. Check out these slides. Right, so you see where we hold the different emotions in the bodies, right? Now, how do we get rid of these emotions? How do they get in there? So, like, they get in there because according to one of the doctors, when you have an experience, three things happen. You develop an emotional vibration. You feel that emotion. Now, that emotion, because we have so much information coming at us all the time, instead of our body taking time and our brain taking time to process that emotion, our brain's like, oh, this is like that. So we're going to feel this here and we're going to store that emotion in this part of the body. So it has this automatic response for it. Like, hey, so this is what's happening. This is the emotion we're supposed to feel. And it trades it out, right? It accepts it. It sends out that emotion and it stores it in your body. May not be a good thing, maybe a really good thing. So these emotions are all stuck in there, right? If you don't have the opportunity to feel these or to process these emotions, if you can't fully go on and say, oh my God, that hurts so bad, and then you just cry and cry and cry, instead of, oh, it hurts so bad, oh, suck it up. I'm great, I'm fine, whatever, it's okay, I'll just work through it. That emotion is now stuck in your body. It's building a resonance. It's getting all the cells around it to vibrate at that resonance. And it's pulling more of that vibration to you at that resonance. Well, we don't want that, do we? We need to get rid of that. Multiple ways to get rid of that. I did want to go through a couple of these numbers. So, almost everybody will experience trauma in their lifetime. 30% of us will experience four or more big traumas. Big traumas include breakups, life changes, death of a loved one, loss of a job, car, home, or other large security item in your life. Racism and discrimination, those are traumatic. I mean, how would you like to just be hated for who you are? That's very traumatic. Violence, any type of violence, being beaten, being raped, any type of violence, discrimination and racism are also violence. Natural disasters, things like car wrecks, that could be kind of like a violence thing, but I felt like that needed its own thing because car wrecks can be very, very traumatic. Okay, so we have talked about different types of trauma that you could have possibly experienced throughout your life, right? Car wrecks, house fires, being raped, being discriminated against, violence, racism, um, being cheated on, losing your house, losing your job, losing just falling, not having trust in someone that you thought would be your bestie for life. Any of these things, those cause you trauma. Other traumas that are not usually addressed when releasing trauma are generational traumas. Now, what do I mean by generational traumas? So, if you follow my channel with any regularity, you know that we have talked about energy exchange because we send huge amounts of energy out every day. We take in huge amounts of energy every day. When you are born and you are pulled from your mother's body or pushed from your mother's body, the doctor puts you immediately on her chest, on that heart chakra, puts this innocent little baby who has pure energy, this love, this kindness, this opening, this curiosity, and places it on this mother's chest. Now, this mother may love this child implicitly, love this child with every single fiber of her being. She's still just passed on that generational trauma that has been fed down to her throughout the family because they put that baby on that heart chakra. And if she wasn't healed, that generational trauma went right into you as a little baby. If your parents were healed, your mother was healed when she had you, then you didn't get that generational trauma passed on to you. And kudos, because you are a rare little unicorn, you are. So, we will also be hitting on where in the body this generational trauma is held so that you know how to do those releases, the practices to get rid of that type of trauma as well. Trauma can impact your cognitive processes. What I mean by that is what we just said, when we experience these different experiences, our body has this automatic response. Oh, this is the emotion coming in. This is how we're going to respond. When you experience a big trauma, your body, your brain doesn't log it correctly. So what happens is your brain feels it and it logs these different pictures. So either it will replay it over and over again, or you'll have these different emotional triggers. So PTSD or disassociation, and you deal with it in those ways. Well, we want to release that so we don't have to deal with that in any of the ways, right? It's kind of like carrying around a heavy backpack, according to Kelly Vincent. Like a large backpack, it weighs you down, it impacts your mood, and it drains your energy. It also destroys your body tissue and prevents normal functions of um, glands and organs, including your brain, because it doesn't allow, when you have all these trauma blockages in your body, it doesn't allow that energy to move through freely and naturally. So it does cause problems. Plus, when your body is feeling these emotions constantly, it is also overproducing hormones like cortisol, which will destroy your organs and your glands. Um, let's see. There's another carrying past traumas. It takes the way you think of yourself, your relationship with others. It makes your hippocampus area smaller, so that makes it more difficult to get over things. Okay, so let's talk about your true self versus your now self. So your true self versus your false self. Your true self was born to be open, curious, and trusting. Your false self is a set of adaptive strategies you have learned to survive your life. So everything that you've learned past birth, basically, if you've been in a bad situation, if you've had trauma of any sort, if you had a traumatic childhood, those are all your false self. Trapped emotions means the true self, your true self, the person you were born to be, that loving, open, curious, kind person. Your true self wants to express something that your false self doesn't want expressed yet. So the false self is like holding on to these traumas like it's a security blanket. And there's another doctor who explained it very, very well. Trauma is like a virus in your body, like a computer virus in your body, in your encoding system. So the trauma is like this virus in the encoding system. When that trauma gets in there, it affects your mental systems. It starts to, your mental systems and your physical systems. So it's like a computer virus in your whole body. Okay, that's what trauma is. It messes with the encoding of your entire system. So we need to let it go because it's starting to mess up your physical systems, messing up your mental systems. It's definitely messed up some relationships, right? I mean, because I know it's messed up some relationships of mine. Some of the repressed negative emotional energy can express as resentment, poor decision making. Sound familiar? Self-sabotage. That's me. That's me all day. Before I started releasing my trauma, self-sabotage, man. Things were going good, and I would do something like take on too much or like expend too much here and just mess it up and start over again. Overreactions, increased stress and anxiety, depression, fatigue. So these are all definitely signs of trapped trauma. There's signs of other things too, smarty pants, but they are signs of trapped trauma. How do we get rid of trauma? All right, so how do we get rid of this trauma that's trapped in our body? Multiple ways. Start with acknowledging the feeling. Stay with yourself, acknowledge the feeling, work through the trauma, some shadow work, unresolved self-blaming, blaming others, depression, and withdrawal. Some of these emotions that you're going to go through, it's not easy. It's very difficult. When you sit with the emotion, you allow yourself to feel the emotion, and you have to go way, 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 way back. Like if you were 5 years old, somebody told you to suck it up, buttercup, you're not supposed to grieve that way, you're not supposed to be that way. You have to go all the way back to that emotion. Get in that headspace, feel that emotion, cry, have those feelings, acknowledge that emotion, cry, see where it is in your body, release it, physically release it. When you sit with these emotions, and especially when you get to the part where you have done bad things, embarrassing things, like, oh my God, I don't believe I did that. It's kind of like pouring peroxide on a cut. First time, right? Oh my God, it hurts so bad, the bubbles, right? Second time, it's not so bad. It's better. Third time, okay. So you will have to sit with a lot of these experiences more than once, and please make sure that you have a comfortable spot to do this in because it's going to be very difficult when you start releasing these emotions. Another way to do this is through intentional movement. What do I mean by intentional movement? The stuff, yoga, dance, hula hoop. Another way would be breath work. That could also be looped into intentional movement. So breath work, block breathing, lion's breath. I really, really do love block breathing for and with oming, following with your legs up the wall. Oming stimulates that vagus nerve. Now, that trauma gets trapped a lot of times in that psoas muscle. So that psoas muscle wraps around your hips, basically holds your legs to your body. In that psoas muscle, you have encompassed your vagus nerve, which runs all the way down. And we've talked about stimulating that with Om because it shoots off into all the organs. It also calms down that overproduction of the hormones. So Oming is just amazing for you. I do it on my way to work. So Om, where was I going? I totally forgot where I was going. Oh yeah, you also have to remember with the psoas nerve, stimulate it. Get those hips moving. Get those hips moving. Get those hips moving, man. Do your goofy dances. That will really help. Really, really help. So in that psoas muscle, encompassing that psoas muscle that is also hit by that vagus nerve are the kidneys and the adrenals. So the kidneys filter the toxins out of your body, and the adrenals are one of the hormone centers responsible for overproducing that cortisol. So getting that psoas muscle activated with that hip movement, get that hip movement going with your intentional movements, and you'll release that trauma a lot faster. The chakra and dantian points. You saw that where you held those different emotions. When you were happy, what were the chakras and dantians that were lit up? Your sacral, your heart, your third eye. That means you're in homeostasis and your body can handle the world, right? I did also want to briefly touch on Kodadama when you're doing your trauma recovery. So Kodadama is a Japanese theory. Kodadama literally translates to word spirit. You, as a human, are 70% water. Water holds memory. You can prove this to yourself by taking a cup of water, putting it in 4 different things, briefly touching different items in each of the water. Put 1 drop of each of those waters under a microscope slide, and they will all have different formations. Water holds memory, which is why when you need to cry, please cry and release that trauma. The other thing you need to remember is when you release that trauma, we need to replace that trauma with some happy things. So let's put in some good water memory with that Kodadama, that word spirit, with some I am affirmations. Yes, I am affirmations. Some beautiful, nice high vibe Hertz music, and some affirming songs to yourself. I invite you to do, and this is fun and scary all at the same time, while you're doing your trauma work, first thing in the morning, before you shower, before anything. I mean, get up and go pee and whatever, but like butt ass naked in front of the biggest mirror in your home. Find a love song, not a I want to do you song, a love song, some love song that you wish somebody would sing to you, and sing it to yourself in front of that mirror. That drool, those bed lines, the crazy hair, all of it. You got like, you know, you got to get happy with yourself. You got to get happy with your body. You got to get happy with everything. You deserve as much love as you give everybody else. You deserve it more. Um, Sing this love song to yourself 30 days, every morning, every single morning for 30 days. And you'll start to replace that bad water memory in your body with good water memory while you're doing this trauma release. So you're going to physically release those trauma holdings in your body, releasing those vibrational frequencies, those cells that are vibrating at that frequency. We're going to get rid of that resonance, that negative resonance, release that physically from your body. And then we're going to replace it with your true self, who you were before you had to survive this world, right? We're going to replace it with that love, that light, that curiousness, that really that where you're almost levitating off that ground, that euphoric feeling. You should have that on a daily basis. You are worth it. You are worth it. I promise. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did and you'd like to see more, I do a lot of Reiki videos. This week is all about the trauma, so I have this one, and I'm going to do a guided meditation and an I am video for the trauma release. Please hit that subscribe button for me, and until next time.